Alicia put a lot of work into having this event. And as far as we know, this is the only event in LA that is commemorating the 20th anniversary of the Peace Accords in Guatemala, which is a great thing for us, but it's actually a sad thing for our communities because we should be commemorating this all over the place. And so about 6 months ago, Alicia and another compañero named Felipe came to me and said that they wanted to help put this on, that they wanted to have an exhibit and that they wanted to do an event. And I started to scramble and find people who would be willing to do their artwork and who also would be willing to participate. And Alicia did as well, and Felipe did as well. So we put together a group of artists, visual artists, based on the contacts that I made through Facebook, through people who I knew. And so this has been a labor of love, as people say. This has been not something we got paid to do. So when Alicia comes back in, I really want to recognize all the effort she's put into it. She got the funding, she got the food, she got the space. Felipe put a lot of work into it. And one of the people that I contacted when I first heard about it is Fabricio Flores, who you'll meet later. And Fabricio and I go back a long ways, to high school, actually. But I ran into him again when he was working with the Museum of Contemporary Art. And recently, I found out that he's also working at the Getty. So I wanted to make sure that I brought people from the community who were of high caliber to this process. And Fabricio brought a lot of professionalism, though he didn't get paid, and a lot of effort to this. So the artwork that you're seeing is curated by Fabricio and the rest of the committee. And the food that you're eating and the space that you're sitting in is also because of Alicia. So I want to recognize Alicia's work in making this happen. If it were not for her and for Felipe, this would not necessarily be happening. So I want to make sure that I give the proper credit where credit is due. Once again, we're in the Chicano Studies conference room, so I want to thank the Chicano Studies Department for supporting this. And then also CESPAS was a contributor. Do you want to name any other organizations?
Yeah, I think we did at the beginning Civil Discourse and Social Change and College of Humanities and Chicano Studies. Yeah.
So a lot of volunteer effort and a lot of resources have gone into this. And you know, for us, when I go to an event, I may think, oh, you know, what was the big deal about putting that together? But it takes effort. And so getting the food, getting the money to pay for the food, getting the artists, getting the poets, getting the playwrights, all that was effort. And it's done as a labor of love on behalf of the community. So just to give you a little more background on this, so about 6 months ago, I made a call out on Facebook and I said, who knows of any Guatemalan visual artists in the LA area? And I started hearing about these different people, some whom I knew and some who I didn't know, some that I didn't know were Guatemalan. And so we had several people who stepped forward and said that they wanted to participate in this. Not for the fame, not for the glory, but for the contributing to the commemoration. And so Henad Alay is one of the artists whose work you'll see outside. His work, Tocoyal de la Paz, is out there. And I'm going to say a brief sentence about him. He's a young design student at East LA College. And so he's planning on transferring to California State University Long Beach to pursue a BA in graphic design. And so he's a younger generation of artists who is celebrating this. And then we also have Karina Oliva Alvarado, who is supposed to be here, but I haven't seen her yet, who produced that piece over there called Bring Eternal Peace to Guatemala, the one with the hummingbird. And it's acrylic on canvas. And she grew up in LA, in the region of Westlake and Pico Union. And she had a BA in English and a PhD in ethnic studies. And she focuses on Central American literature and cultural production in the U.S. And I'll tell you a little bit more about her when she gets here and she presents her poetry. And then we have Mario Avila, who is standing by the door and has been very graciously helping people with their tags, who contributed this piece entitled Si Hubo Genocidio, which is acrylic on wood. And he's a self-taught painter, and he's been in the community for a long time. He's somebody that I met at a protest against torture. And if you think that this is cozy, the kind of meetings that people like Mario and others have been in were a lot cozier, and there weren't any chairs either. So I'll tell you a little bit more about him. Ana Ruth Yela Castillo has a couple pieces, one of them called Ancestors Presente, which is that piece with the quetzal in the middle. And she is a muralist and a teaching artist, and she's actually the first in her family to have been born outside of Guatemala and uses art to reconnect to her cultural roots and her ancestors. She's done exhibits that honor Central American women at the Museum of Latin American Art in Long Beach as part of the Somos Poderosas Altar exhibit. And she's completing her final year of graduate school at Loyola Marymount University as an MFT or art therapist. She continues to recommit to the practice of art making as a healing modality. Somebody who I saw peek in, you may have seen his work around. I saw his work all over the place in LA, but I didn't know he was Guatemalan. And that's Cache. I saw him peek his head, and yes, he's Guatemalan. And he has the piece called Numbers that's on the left-hand side, and it's spray paint on wood. And so he's a LA-based graffiti artist from Guatemala City, Guatemala, and his murals have been popping up wall by wall for over a decade. He is most known for his vibrant chubby chickens. So if you see the chubby chickens around, that's Cache's work. And they've become icons in LA. And so he has been influenced by writers such as Carlos Castañeda, who describes humans as being trapped in a human chicken coop, or human chicken coops, right? We also have Germán Escobar, who has two pieces, one entitled Mayan Heritage, and another one entitled Colors of Guatemala. And he was born in Guatemala and arrived to the U.S. in 2006. He's currently attending LA City College and majoring in social work. And his main inspiration in painting has been related to Guatemalan heritage, people, and nature. So the other artist that I've been talking a lot about as a curator, but he's also an artist, is Fabricio Flores. And he would probably not like the fact that I'm doing this, but I want to give credence and recognition to the artist. And he created a digital photography piece called Memorias Expuestas, which is also an exhibit in the hallway. And Fabricio was born in Guatemala and he was raised in LA. He's an educator, art instructor, and administrator working in LA, California. He has extensive experience managing arts programs and designing curriculum for public schools, civic, and cultural organizations. He's currently developing and implementing participatory art programs with artists based on the museum collections and special collections at the J. Paul Getty Museum, the Craft and Folk Art Museum, the Museum of the San Fernando Valley, and the Norton Simon Museum. His area of emphasis is museum work and management of education programs that foster cultural access and community engagement. I'll stop there. He has a really long bio, as some of us do. But one of the things that I found really important about his bio is he says, the arts have always held a special place in my life. Through the arts, I found a voice and a portal to help me through middle and high school. And somebody who's not Guatemalan, but is an ally, as we like to say in some of the work that we do, is Tomás Germano. And he has a watercolor on paper called Memoria. And he was born in New York. He's a professor of drawing, painting, and art history at Farmingdale State College, State University, New York. And he has exhibited his art throughout the United States and abroad. And his work is in numerous public and private collections. And since 2013, he has studied Guatemalan art with a particular focus on the Maya. He also lectures on topics ranging from Da Vinci, Caravaggio, Michelangelo, Diego Rivera, and Maya art. And I actually have a piece entitled Genocidio with a C in the middle, C as in yes, And you'll hear a little bit more of me later. But anyway, we also have Sandra Luna, who's a photographer. I'm not sure if she's made it here yet. But she has a couple of photographs, one called Mujeres en la Lucha, and another one called Donde Están, which is about the force disappeared. And she's an educator, nutritionist, photographer, blogger, master gardener, and environmentalist living in LA. And she migrated from Guatemala with her parents in 1979 and has lived in Pico Union, or the mid-city area, for most of her life. She's a graduate of California State Polytechnic University of Pomona with a degree in urban and regional planning. We also found out that a friend of ours named Alejandra Marroquin is actually a photographer. We didn't know that. We knew she was Guatemalan, but we didn't know she was a photographer. So she has a couple pieces outside called La Mirada. And she was born in Guatemala City in 1979, and she is the daughter to Blanca Marroquin, an adoring mother. And Alejandra and Blanca immigrated to the LA area following much political strife in Guatemala, which included a civil war, a daily civil war that claimed new victims and lives with each new day. And by April of 1985, Alejandra and Blanca were settled in LA, and by 1986 were making their way toward refugee status. She grew up, went to school, and continues to live in LA, California. Because of her background, upbringing, and school studies, which had an emphasis in international development, she continues to follow social justice issues, not just in Guatemala, but also across the world, and in particular in her home city of LA. And last but certainly not least, we have Manuel Felipe Perez, who contributed several pieces, one of which is called Tejiendo la Paz. And Manuel Felipe, or Felipe as we like to call him, is one of those people behind the scenes. He put a lot of work into this. And so I also want to give him a lot of credit for putting this together. So that is the list of visual artists that are representing here. And I want to make sure that we all give them a hand for contributing to this, because like I said, they donated their time, they donated their effort, they got their pieces here. Some artists tend to be shy, so we don't want to embarrass them by bringing them up here. But we have certificates of appreciation for the work that you've all done. So if you're not a shy visual artist, could you please stand up so you can get some recognition? Karina, if you're around, let's see. So Ana Ruth is here now. Make sure to give us some recognition. Is Henad around yet? No. Karina, Mario Avila is here. And Ana Ruth's piece is actually about Mario's healing. This is a really wonderful connection between the two of them. One of the pieces that she has outside. Cache, I see him peeking his, please, he put a lot of effort into getting here. A lot of people took time off of work to be here, so let's make sure we give him recognition for that. Is Germán Escobar here yet? No, I don't see him. And then Sandra Luna, the photographer that I told you about. Alejandra, are you around? And Felipe, I know he's really shy, so Felipe, is he in the hallway standing around worrying about how people are going to get chairs in here? Está comiendo? Okay, we won't bother him. He's having his pollo campero right now. Okay, so as I said, visual artists, we have certificates for you. We don't want to embarrass you by making you come up here, but please see us before you go so we can give it to you. And for the rest of you, it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to produce a piece of art. So please appreciate that. Now we're going to move into more of the program part. And we mentioned to you all that we're going to have poets, we're going to have playwrights, and we're even going to have some rappers, I've heard. So what I want to start off with is actually having Mario Avila. I call him Don Mario because he's older and out of respect. He doesn't want me to call him Don Mario anymore. But I want to give him an opportunity to read something and say a few words and then we'll continue with the program from there. So